Alex Jones's InfoWars has filed for bankruptcy along with two other companies associated with Alex Jones. This is coming after the lawsuits filed against him by the parents in Sandy Hook, and it appears that he's lost. Now, Alex says that he doesn't have a whole lot of money, but he's now being sued again. They're accusing him of hiding something like, I think it's $18 million by funneling it away because of the lawsuit. Alex Jones's lawyers say that's absurd. They just don't have that much money, and they actually have massive debt. Now, personally, I find it hard to believe that Alex Jones's InfoWars would be that broke. I don't know how much money the guy makes, and admittedly, he lost a lot when he got banned across the board. He went from being on top to being back, with his own private website. Alex Jones does get tons of views. He does sell his own products, so I'd have to imagine he's at least still making a large sum of money. But from my understanding, Jones getting banned was huge. I mean, it took away a lot of his revenue. It didn't stop him. But this lawsuit is something else. I'll be the first to say Alex Jones should not have defamed the families involved in the Sandy Hook tragedies. And, I think Alex now recognizes that he was wrong when he was claiming that there was a false flag or something like that. You see, the parents in Sandy Hook, they're private citizens. They're not public figures. So the standard for defamation is actually rather low. For Alex Jones, as this massive broadcaster, to come out and say the things he was saying about them, that they were crisis actors or whatever, we'll go through the specifics. I don't want to accuse Alex of anything either. But, effectively saying that it was staged or something like that. You don't play those games. I wouldn't stand for CNN doing it. When CNN went after the guy who made the meme, I'll call him out. When CNN went after, there was a guy who made a meme, and there was another guy who posted a video of Nancy Pelosi. When these big news organizations go after private citizens, I'm like, nah, dude. Now, to be fair, I don't like it when they go after anybody with lies. Now, Alex Jones, say what you want. He was wrong about this one, and so for that, you get sued. Can I just point out one thing, though? It's really, really annoying that when these big media companies constantly do this, they almost never get held to account. But I do got to point out Covington, kids. I mean, Nick Sandman did get a settlement from many of these media companies. I believe those cases, some of them still may be ongoing because there are a lot of people involved. This Sandman kid, man, he may be comfortable for some time. I don't think he's getting $250 million or anything like that. Maybe he got $100,000, who knows? And he probably smiled and said, dude, I'll take it. But look, the media wants to smear somebody, you get accountability. And when they got held to account because of Covington kids, well, there you go. I got to say, though, in my view of what's happening with Alex Jones is it's going a bit above and beyond. Jones apparently offered to settle with the families for like $120,000 each, and they rejected it, saying they wanted a public reckoning or something. And then it's kind of weird. Alex Jones has already apologized. He's already said he was wrong. He already offered to pay. You won. Why keep going? Well, I do think politics plays a role in this because right now there are a bunch of political individuals who are cheering on the shutting down or the bankruptcy of InfoWars. I don't believe bankruptcy will stop Alex Jones from doing the work he's doing. In fact, I think bankruptcy is protecting him. That's what these people don't understand. I'm seeing these people on Twitter, they're like, yes, Jones is filing for bankruptcy. And they're all cheering for it. And I'm like, bankruptcy just means he can keep going on with his work and his business will keep running and you can't take the money from him. So it's a good thing for him. It's protection. It's filing Chapter 11, I guess. I want to talk about this story, but I also want to talk about Elon Musk because I think there's a bit of an overlap in the attack on speech. There are powerful interests, and Veritas as well. There are powerful interests that will fund lawsuits, and they will find that attack vector. And we saw it start. Not necessarily start, but we saw a big play with Hulk Hogan and Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel paid I believe, it's been a long time since I covered the story, but, funded Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker and basically destroyed Gawker. But Gawker was gutter trash. Well, we all cheer for that. Now they're all cheering for Alex Jones filing for bankruptcy. You see, here's what you got to understand, though. Take everything from him. Take everything from Alex Jones. And what is left? Alex Jones. The dude could take a cell phone and make a successful show. People like watching him. That will never be taken away. Gawker was a faceless organization that was crushed, and now its rotting zombie corpse plagues the internet with more trash articles as they keep trying to resurrect it. As an individual, Jones is effectively, his media presence is It's never ending. But let's get started with talking about what's going on with this InfoWars bankruptcy suit. And then with Elon Musk, the news is that they just enacted the poison pill right away. And there's questions about the political play here. Could it be that the reason the Twitter board is trying to block Elon Musk is because once he gets access to the company, he'll see they lied under oath to Congress? Perhaps. Is it possible that powerful special interests are not interested in money? They're going after people like Alex Jones. They're going after people like Elon Musk. They do not want the machine to be challenged. They want ideological control of these machines. The reason, I want to make sure I can show you, I can explain this connection better, because they do seem to be separate stories, but I think you get it. Many people got banned, right? There is an effort to silence Alex Jones, Donald Trump, Milo Yiannopoulos, Laura Loomer, prominent right-wing personalities. And it's been particularly effective, not at getting rid of their voices, but at least damaging their businesses. Now, as you know, Timcast has been under siege, but what they're doing to us is, for the most part, is just threatening our lives. It's something entirely different. But we do have activists coming after us. We're just too, I guess, milquetoast to really be on the radar of a lot of these big players. And we don't do the things that many of the other outlets do. We're fairly middle of the road. Almost like real journalism. Hard to go after. Here's the story from the New York Times. Alex Jones's InfoWars files for bankruptcy. I do want to quickly mention, if you want to support our work amid all of this stuff, because we are getting threats and being attacked, people are trying to shut us down, go to timcast.com, become a member, help support our work. As a member, you get access to exclusive episodes of the Timcast IRL podcast. We had an excellent religion discussion with Michael Knowles and Jeremy Boring of the Daily Wire. And you're helping keep our journalists employed, which is incredibly important. I explained to people and they're like, what's your end goal, Tim? And I said, look, I could buy a Ferrari, right? I don't want a Ferrari. I want a newsroom that does a good job. And that means that news needs to be readily available to people so they can see the facts. That's a challenge. How do you sell a product that needs to be free? If your ethos is information should be free, how do you monetize that? You guys, if you want to see more of that, just about the mission, become a member at timcast.com. Help fight back against those who would seek to silence the truth. The New York Times, and share this video. How about that? The New York Times, smash the like button. All right, now anyway. The New York Times writes, 3 companies affiliated with far-right broadcaster and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, among them, the media outlet InfoWars, filed for Chapter 11 protection on Sunday in U.S. bankruptcy court for the Southern District of Texas, according to court documents. InfoWars is facing multiple defamation lawsuits from families of the victims of Sandy Hook. We know that. We know that. 2 other companies connected to Mr. Jones, IW Health and Prison Planet TV, also filed for bankruptcy protection on Sunday. Last September, Mr. Jones lost 2 defamation lawsuits filed in Texas by victims' families because he failed to provide requested information to the court. Months later, in a case representing the families of 8 others involved in the shooting, other families involved, a Connecticut judge ruled that Mr. Jones was liable by default because he had refused to turn over documents ordered by the courts, including financial records. The rulings delivered sweeping victories for the families. And I want to pause there. My understanding is that well, I'll put it this way. I have spoken to Mr. Jones and asked him a while ago. What he said was these default rulings actually have like a time period contingency. It's not that he just lost. It's that he's in default and now he has 6 months to not be in default. So they call it a sweeping victory, but at least what I'm told is it doesn't mean they've lost. More importantly, Jones's lawyers maintain they did provide all of the information, but that the courts wouldn't accept it. They said, no, it's not all the information. They're accusing Alex Jones of hiding. So check this out. The AP report on April 8th. Alex Jones accused of hiding assets over Sandy Hook lawsuits. They're saying, I think it's $18 million. Jones is accused of drawing about $18 million from his InfoWars company over 3 years, starting in 2018 when the lawsuits were filed. Jones is also accused of claiming a dubious $54 million debt around that time to another company, which the lawsuit alleges is indirectly or directly owned by Jones. Now, I reached out to Jones about the filing, and I think he may already have a statement out, but the general idea is that this is going to put everything on the table. They want to accuse him of hiding money. Filing for bankruptcy means the court is going to get all of his documentation. Perhaps that's the strategy. If he gives all of the documents to the court and they say, nope, we don't accept it, you're in default, what are you supposed to do? If you don't, how do you give documents you don't have? Well, file for bankruptcy, give the courts every record for your business, and then that court's going to be like, no, that's everything. You can't deny that. Now, you can accuse Alex Jones of lying or hiding money or whatever. That's fine. I don't know. I don't have access to his documents. And I got to say, fault starts with Alex. He's the one who defamed these private citizens. They have a right to sue him. But certainly at a certain point, it does seem like there are special interests that are just going for the destruction of InfoWars. I mean, so many people are cheering for this. They say Mr. Jones for years spread bogus theories that it was, a part of a government plot, what happened in Sandy Hook. Because of the falsehoods, families of the victims have found themselves routinely accosted by those who believe the false claims. Among those are the parents of Noah Posner, who have moved nearly 10 times, live in hiding. The Sandy Hook families maintain that Jones profited from spreading lies about their relatives, about the tragedy. Jones has disputed that, while for years failing to provide sufficient records to bolster his claims. Here's the challenge. While Alex Jones was making these claims, he was making money. It's hard to know if the money was made from those claims, but I can only say this. I'm very careful with language for one reason. It's not really about getting sued. It's about being right. So you'll notice when I'm not sure, I'll say it's being reported about this because we can't verify these claims. I don't want, and I'll say this too. Often there are stories I won't cover unless there's hard proof. Sometimes there are stories that are hard to verify, but are so expansive or, overwhelmingly seem to be the case. I'll cover them, but I will always make sure to say, hey, fact check this, guys. This one's tough. I want to be careful. It's not about being sued. It's about doing the right thing. I want to contribute to you having a better understanding of the world so you can understand what's going on with stories like this. For instance, I just did the video about the threats against me. Many people said, do not talk about it. And I said, shouldn't people know what is happening in the world? And if this was a different personality, we'd have said everything that we could. For security and safety reasons, we do often try and, keep certain specifics under wraps. And I did, we don't want to compromise any investigations. But I think you need to have at least a general understanding of how the world works if you're going to vote properly, if you're going to understand deep moral and philosophical questions about all this. They say, last month, a Connecticut judge found the radio host in contempt for failing to sit for a deposition and ordered that he be fined $25,000 for the first weekday he fails to appear for testimony. Now, I don't know exactly what happened here, and I haven't talked to Alex about it. But apparently he said he had a medical issue, but then appeared on his show, and so they're accusing him of lying. In court filings, InfoWars said it had up to 49 creditors, as much as $50,000 in assets, and up to $10 million in estimated liabilities. The two other companies said they also had up to 49 creditors, with IW Health stating it had up to $1 million in assets, while Prison Planet TV said it had up to $50,000. This I believe. IW Health, what is that, InfoWars Health? They probably do hold, they're the sales arm. They are what makes the money for Jones. If Alex Jones is running InfoWars but spending money on production and then selling his own products, it stands to reason the products are where the money is at. Filing for Chapter 11 protection allows a corporation or partnership to reorganize according to the government. The business may propose a plan to keep running and to pay creditors over a period of time. So what may happen is that Alex Jones may end up being liable for the lawsuits, but bankruptcy will allow him to take the money and disperse it as needed to maintain the business. So if you get sued and they're like, you owe us $50 million, and you're like, well, I can't pay you the $50 million if I go out of business, right? Okay. The protection means if I get $1 million a month, then I got to use 800 for costs and 200, then there's a certain amount of money that needs to be put in, emergency funds. You might only end up paying 20 to 50,000 per month to the people who've sued you. I mean, what are you going to do? There's something called judgment proof, and it's where someone is broke, so suing them is pointless. And then those people, they typically can come after you, and it's, what do you do? How do you sue them? In this instance, Jones seems to need bankruptcy protection. Now, I want to move over to the story about Elon Musk, because I do think there's an overlap with the attack on free speech. Though there's not too many big developments, I do think it's still important to mention in this greater segment. This is General Flynn. I don't know if it's the General Flynn, but there's a post going around claiming it's from Flynn saying, "Hey, Elon, have you considered that Twitter is blocking your offer because they were afraid you'd obtain documents proving they shadow ban and censor, which would contradict sworn testimony made before Congress? This could be an Enron type scenario you've uncovered. Let's get this to Elon. I want these bastards exposed for the corrupt, smug, arrogant thugs they are." Perhaps. Twitter has officially filed its poison pill plan with the SEC. This is why I bring these things together. I genuinely think Alex Jones erred when he accused the Sandy Hook families of being part of some plot. I do, however, think that there are special interests who will make any possible move for political power. That is to say, there are probably a lot of people who are looking to go after Alex Jones at any chance they can get. The same with Donald Trump, the same with any of these other personalities. I think for us here at Timcast is that we're so standard, run-of-the-mill, milquetoast. The only real strategy against us is death threats, because we don't do anything. I pull up stories. I talk about them. I try and be honest, truthful, respectful, and careful. So what happens? Death threats. As for everybody else, they'll hit you in the pocketbook. The poison pill story is interesting because Elon Musk, perhaps he'll uncover illicit dealings. I don't know. But there are powerful interests. There are big organizations, wealthy organizations that are refusing to take a premium deal from Elon Musk. He's offering him more money than the stock is worth. Cash out, take the money. Why keep it? Why cross your fingers? Well, perhaps it's a fair point that, in a year, Twitter will be worth more money. That's the idea. But it's ridiculous. Twitter, may be worth more money by virtue of inflation, but the company is struggling. At least that's what Reuters reported. What did they say? It was just underperforming, serial underperformer. They said, why would you invest in Twitter? It's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure I had Twitter stock a while ago when it was trading really low, like $15, and someone convinced me to sell it, saying like, look what they're doing to the company. I'm like, that's a good point. Banning all of these people is bad business. It's not good for business. They're going to lose users. You don't like Alex Jones? Well, how many millions of people quit Twitter because that's the only reason they were there? Getting rid of your actual entertainment? Fine. Twitter can become an activist microblog and everyone else will go somewhere else and you'll make substantially less money. Bad investment. Elon Musk comes in. I bought 22 shares, about $1,000. Not that big, but I did. Why? I'm like, this is good. Elon's going to fix the company. Stock's going to be worth it. It's a good investment. Now these dirty games are being played with the poison pill. Perhaps they will not allow Elon Musk to actually gain control of the company, and perhaps the real reason, political power. There are these big companies, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. You control enough of these companies and you have power. The power of Twitter is the political discourse. If you can control political discourse and conversations, you can make or break any of your investments. Think about it. If I own Twitter, my company, I can be like, hey, we don't like it when anti-establishment individuals criticize us. Ban them. What are you going to do? It's a private business. I can do what I want. Let's say I launch a product. Let's say I launch a book, Tales from the Inverted World, Ghosts of the Civil War, coming soon. We're really excited for this book. Is timcast.com going to disparage its own product? No. So then what happens is Pop Culture Crisis, one of our shows, maybe they want to critique the culture that is Tales from the Inverted World. I say no, right? Now, in reality, I wouldn't. If the guys over at if the crew over at Pop Culture Crisis didn't like Tales from the Inverted World and want to talk about it and said they didn't like it, then, fine. If it got, licensed into a movie or something and then they made fun of it, I'd be like, well, these things happen. Because that's how I operate. That's why that's my mission. But do you think big companies like Vanguard are going to be happy with Twitter allowing people to disparage all of their other properties? Better yet, do you think they'd be happy if someone on Twitter is promoting their stocks and making them more money? Well, of course they would. It's political power. That's the power of Twitter. And that being said, I'll also give an honorable mention to our good friends over at Tesla, because when you pull up the data as of April 14th from CNN Business, guess who the biggest stake is, listed? The top 10 owners: Vanguard, Capital Research, BlackRock, and State Street. I think it's State Street. It's SSGA. I think that's State Street Global Advisors. It says SSGA Funds Management. So maybe not. But either way, Vanguard and BlackRock are right at the top. They got stock in Tesla. They got stock in Twitter. We're sitting here saying like, whoa, something shady is going on with Elon Musk. It's like, yeah, well, they hold stock in his company too. I think Elon's the biggest shareholder in, I thought he was. Pretty sure he is, because, yeah, if you look at Vanguard Group's total value, it's $63 billion held in Tesla. Now, that's interesting. I don't know exactly how it all breaks down, but the point is, yeah, I don't trust anybody. It's all one big happy family tree, isn't it? This doesn't mean Elon Musk is a bad guy. No, I think what he's doing is good. I think this may be one of the most important battles in the culture war. I mentioned earlier that if they wipe out InfoWars, Alex Jones still exists. And he can take a cell phone and he'll be able to do his show, even if they take his studio from him and everything. If Elon Musk gets Twitter and they put Jones back on Twitter, it will help him massively in the event of this. This is why I think we got to pay attention to the big picture, media and big tech social media. So we'll see how things play out with Alex. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.